And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host and author, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to welcome tonight Emily Listfield, who's here to give us the inside scoop on her book, Reasons to Lie. Emily, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on this snowy evening. I hope everyone's warm and safe.
Yay!
Yeah. Reasons to Lie, it centers around the friendship of three mothers who are very different in their socioeconomic and personality backgrounds, but they all have teenagers at this very she uptown private school. And they kind of bond through being outsiders until their kids go on a class trip and another student dies. And when everyone gets back and a detective starts looking into it, it's clear that it was murder. And none of the mothers know if their children were involved or not because they're all lying. And so it really asks the question, how far would you go to protect your kid, not knowing if they had committed a crime? And then how well do you know your best friend? Because they all have secrets from each other as well. And the friendships begin to fray.
Ooh, well, I cannot wait to dive in because Emily, as we were discussing a few minutes ago, there are so many books and TV shows and movies centered at elite private schools, but none from the parents' perspective. So, and you, Emily, are the parent of a child who went to a school suspiciously similar. So I can't wait to get the inside scoop. First, I just want to welcome everyone. We are broadcasting live to 8 different destinations across Facebook and YouTube. So mystery and thriller loving friends, no matter where you're watching from, you're in the right place. This is the right time. It is Mystery Monday, and because Mondays can be murder, we're going to make it a little less painful and get your week off to a killer start. If you've been here before, you know the drill. And if you're new, welcome, friends. Here's the drill. Every Monday, I give you my handpicked featured authors, and you get to ask them anything. So ask Emily about this school, about these kids, about these moms, the cutthroat competition, all of the questions. Just get them going in the chat, and I will get them right over to her. Okay, Renee is joining us from Southeast Florida. Renee, I'm guessing you're not enjoying a snowy night as the snow is piling up here terrifyingly fast. So good to see you. Welcome. And I'm seeing Robin as well. Welcome. Margaret Pinard, joining us from Portland, Oregon, the West Coast. I don't know if it's snowing over there or not. We're under feet of snow over here, Margaret. Send a shovel and get over here. We have Raul joining us from a very warm LA saying, I feel your winter pain. I'm not sure you do, Raul. I'm not sure you really feel it quite enough over there on the sunny shores of LA. Renee is saying windy and cold for down there in Southeast Florida. Oh my goodness. Well, we'll take your word for it. Summer weather, friends. Also welcome to Maria and Jane. So good to have everyone with us. I see everyone's logging on. Okay, let's dive into some questions. So Emily, we had some questions submitted in advance. Let's start with those. Number one from Emily, the novel raises intriguing questions about how well parents truly know their teenagers. How did you approach crafting the moral dilemmas that these three mothers face, and what insights from real life or research shaped your portrayal of family trust and deception? Thank you for the great question.
Well, let's start with one fact that I believe is indisputable. Teenagers lie. Whether you've been one or you've parented one, teenagers lie.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's just in the nature of growing up. But what happens when the lies become much bigger things and about bigger things? But in the book, the kids are not just lying about murder. They're lying about issues of identity as well. And I think, no matter how old you are, because the mothers are lying to each other too. People lie for all different reasons, whether they're afraid of not being liked or shame, or with murder, jail is a good incentive. There's that. So that really intrigued me, how well you can know your own kid. And in the past, I've written books about how well you can know a partner, whether it's a romantic partner or whatever. And then I realized, I don't think most parents know their own kids once they grow up. And we think we can experience this from the other side as well as having parents.
So, Emily, in your experience, when you say teenagers lie, you think all teenagers, and maybe it sounds like all adults.
Well, certainly teenagers. I mean, did you want your parents knowing everything you did? Probably not.
Emily, I was a goody two shoes.
Okay, well,
I'm like such a who never broke any rules. I'm a rule following goody two shoes. So I am thinking I am not a good. I'm not. I should have. Now I'm thinking I've barely lived. I should have lied and lived more.
well, you shouldn't be a main character in a book. That's for sure.
Okay. So as a both a teenager yourself and the parent of someone who parented a teen at a private school, what was your experience navigating that treacherous rocky road?
Well, I think that the three mothers involved are very different. There's Abby, who's a downtown single mother who is kind of hiding the identity of her daughter's father. And there's Kara, who's married and has two children, but really feels the financial stress of having, they can't really live up to the standards of this school. And then there's Hollis, who's quite wealthy, but in a bad marriage, but she has secrets we don't know, and she's coming into the school late. But they're all outsiders in this school. I think on paper, I'm more like the downtown single mother. But, you know, when you write a book, each of them have pieces of you. And I certainly felt like somewhat of an outsider in that environment because the wealth was just so staggering. And it's just such a juicy environment that to be able to give people an insider's view, but offer them an outsider's perspective of it was really fun.
Ooh, I love the idea of an insider's view from an outsider's perspective, because I think that's the more honest and revelatory view, because if you're truly an insider, you may not see things as clearly or as, you know, in such a nuanced way as an outsider would. And the feeling of being an outsider is something we can all relate to.
Yeah, and I think people are curious about that world, so it's fun to get some juicy details. But I think we also see, on a more serious note, in the news today, every single item is, you know, how money and power and connections weigh in when there's a crime. And what role do they play if you have those, if you don't have those? What levers do you pull? Where is your morality?
Yes. So as you were navigating these very, very tricky waters with the world, with, as you said, these issues being wrestled with so publicly, how did that feel to write about that?
Well, I didn't want to write, you know, there are enough books about sex exposés, et cetera, or the Catholic Church. But I do think that when you look at schools like this or environments like this, you have to remember there's a lot of money involved. And schools want to protect their reputation, just like other institutions do. And so that definitely played a role. So everyone, the school and the parents and the kids are all lying about something, frankly.
Robin is joining us from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. She says, hello all. Hi, Robin, and welcome. Sharon is joining us from YouTube saying, hi. Hi, Sharon. So good to see you pop up here. Welcome, everyone. I'm just making sure I'm getting everybody's questions. Yes, so good to have everybody. Emily, let's also, I wanted to get to some of these other, Robin is saying that she was a goody two shoes too, who never had anything, apparently Robin and I were just being two goody two shoes who.
Well, maybe you can live vicariously through the book then.
I think so. Oh, Elizabeth, welcome to the conversation. Another goody two shoes here. Okay. Emily's like, what have I stumbled into? the meaning of the goody two shoes girls.
I'm sticking with my thesis that teenagers lie. Just going to go down on that sword.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the hill you said it and you're sticking to it. I love it. Exactly. Okay, let's get to this one. Without giving any spoilers, can you discuss how the elite world of Manhattan's Dearborn Academy serves as a backdrop to shine a light on the themes of privilege, class tensions, and the pressure to maintain appearances?
Yeah, I think that's such a great question, because those are definitely things I thought a lot about and wanted to write a lot about. Because of the three mothers, only one can really afford the school, and she has a lot of money, and she has a lot of things at her fingertips. Whether it's legal help or publicity or things like that. One of them is on partial scholarship, and the other, the financial strain is putting a lot of, I mean, the finances is putting a lot of strain on their marriage. And I think we do have this, especially in New York, where there's, you know, so much status involved. I think there's this pressure to keep up. And then they don't, you know, they're all outsiders though, because they're not the alpha moms, you know, there are the alpha moms and the mean girls, but they're not that, but they're still in this environment.
Because you know, it's so interesting because I remember hearing about this writers program, Bread Loaf.
Yeah, sure.
And they used to give scholarships, and everyone was like, oh, that's so great. You're giving scholarships. This is a good thing. But then they would make the scholarship writers serve dinner to the writers who had paid full tuition. And I think the intention was like, oh, you're here on scholarship, you're giving back. But the outcome that I've heard from both people my friends who were scholarship students, is that it was really uncomfortable and felt demeaning and demoralizing, and it felt disempowering because you had to serve your fellow, you know, attendee, and then the next day sit in a classroom as equals and workshop your work. And so it's like when you're there, even if you're both have tested into the school or the program or the writing program or whatever, but when one is there with a full check and one is there on a scholarship, there are inherent power dynamics that can feel really painful and uncomfortable.
Absolutely. And I think the mothers feel it, but the kids feel it as well.
Right.
You know, teenagers definitely feel it. Whether someone can travel more or afford different clothes. And in the book, one of the mothers, Abby, who, you know, lives in a smaller apartment than some of these huge, you know, penthouses, wonders if her daughter isn't having other kids over because she's embarrassed about how they live. Though there's nothing wrong with how they live. It's just the comparison.
Right.
And
that's
painful. Be the reason, no, might not be the reason. You have to read to find out.
Right.
But it's definitely something they're all aware of.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Margaret saying you've cracked the market on goody two-shoes who love to read about pathological lying main characters. Emily. Yes, exactly. We are Emily's target audience, Margaret. Exactly. Yeah. Robin saying our daughter was not a goody two-shoes, but she was smart and she didn't get into trouble, or at least she didn't get caught.
Well, and maybe she got into trouble and you don't know.
Ooh, but, oh my God, it would be so amazing if Robin's daughter was here and made a full confession.
There we go.
Like, that would be so great.
I think teenagers lie not just about crime, but also about things they're insecure about. So it might not, maybe your daughter didn't kill someone.
Emily, Renee wants to know, are you an alpha mom?
No, I'm really not. First of all, I was single parent. My husband died when my daughter was young, and I didn't have the time to be a helicopter alpha mom. You know, I was writing books while I was working in magazines, and like to my daughter, you do your job, I do my job. I'll see you. So I was, and she's done quite well, and she's fabulous, and we have a close relationship. But I was not an alpha mom, nor did I particularly fit in at this very uptown private school, by the way.
Oh my God, I love it. Margaret says, if it's a high school, yes, it is, Margaret. Is there a parent organization like a PTA portrayed here? If so, does that reflect the state of the world?
There isn't a PTA, and I will tell you why.
Ooh.
When my daughter went to public school, elementary school, there was a PTA that was very involved, and the school really needed it. In the private school, they didn't really need a PTA. There were some, you could be a class mom, you know, and I did that once. But they really, it was such a different world, and they had so many resources that I'll tell you a funny story. I did volunteer for things, or try to, because I wanted to make friends. And there was a benefit committee, and they have a huge benefit annually at Cipriani, and people are offering parts in movies and, you know, stays in their islands. And, you know, you can come see how a magazine cover is shot, but
which is cool, very cool.
Well, no one else thought so, but they kept having the meetings at 10 in the morning. So anyone who worked couldn't really go.
Right.
So
Oh, that's interesting. Oh,
yeah.
that's very interesting. Yes, Renee, we all want to see Robin's daughter getting online in here and confess. We're going to do a mother-daughter session here. Emily's going to lead it. Oh my gosh, I love it. You guys, I want to remind you that the book is not even out yet. Emily's coming on to give us an exclusive sneak peek and take
Yeah.
all of your most pressing questions live. So if you so if you have questions for Emily, get them going in the question box. And meanwhile, I want to remind you to please pre-order from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. That is, of course, Murder by the Book. And whether you're watching with us on Facebook or YouTube, here is that link for you to pre-order Reasons to Lie. And get your mitts on the world of the mysterious Dearborn Academy on the Upper East Side in New York, and the world of Abby and Hollis and Kara and their kids as drawn by Emily. So here is that link. And meanwhile, while you're ordering, we'll get back to the questions. Reasons to Lie masterfully builds suspense through shifting alliances and hidden pasts. What challenges did you face in balancing the multiple perspectives to keep readers guessing the truth?
That's such a good question. And I will say that this is the first book I ever wrote from 3 points of view.
Yeah, how was that?
Hard. Because not only are there 3 points of view, but each narrative moves the timeline forward. So it's not like some books where you're getting different points of view on the same event. So I had to do it from, there's 3-dimensional chess, 3 points of view, but each person doesn't know what the other person knows and moves the timeline forward. And honestly, I tried everything. I tried color-coded Post-its. I tried charts. I tried, because I had to know who knew what when.
Right.
And kind of give them equal time. But it was really fun because it's fun to kind of hop around from one personality to another.
So did you find that the chart with the color coded worked best?
I did, because at a certain point, I had different charts. I had running charts of who knew what when. And then I had one master chart where linearly each woman's voice was a different color, because I actually wanted to see visually the balancing of them.
Yeah.
Thing. So that's inside baseball, but that's how I did it.
Renee would like to know, did you write each POV separately? Yeah. So did you write all Abby, all Hollis?
I didn't.
Okay,
I didn't. Because of the timeline, everything had to move forward. So I couldn't jump ahead too far in any one perspective, because I didn't always know it was exactly how things were going to happen. What I would do sometimes is go back to the last chapter of that person to make sure that things were aligning. But no, I wrote it linearly.
Yeah, because I wrote 4 POVs in Broadway Butterfly, and halfway through I was like, why did I do this? This is so much harder than just writing one, because not only are you thinking of the narrative arc of the story and moving the story forward and balancing tension and timelines and character development, all of those things, but then you have to do that for each of these people separately, and then make sure that they're not all getting exciting at the same time, but they're not all sort of having all at the same time. And it was 3 times the work. It was, and 3 times my brain was like, aching.
100%. It was a lot, especially with the timeline. What I did find fun in this writing process, the women's secrets reveal at different times, their own secrets to each other. But I didn't actually know the teenagers' secrets, aside from the murder, until halfway through the book, when they sort of started revealing themselves to me. And so that was interesting, because I was writing their characteristics and how they were viewed by each other and by their parents. And I knew they were hiding something, but I didn't actually know what they were hiding until halfway through.
Ooh, that's interesting. So does that mean that as you were writing, you were like, oh, let me see how this evolves, and then
that part, not the murder part, but the rest of it.
Ooh, that's so interesting. So then you had the color coded chart of who is speaking, so that you're making sure everyone gets some airtime, voice time. But then you had another chart of who knew what when, because that's the other thing, is you're also revealing a murder. So that's, oh my goodness, wow. Okay. I'm trying to visualize that, because that's a lot. Oh my gosh. Okay. As a writer with a background in storytelling, how did your own experiences or observations influence the exploration of motherhood? and the reasons to lie that drive the plot forward. That's fun.
My daughter hasn't read the book yet, so.
Ooh.
But see, I think in terms of experience, as I said, she did go to a school not unlike Dearborn.
Uh-huh.
And it's not that I was taking notes, it just things stick in your mind, you know? And every year, one class from Dearborn goes away on a 3-day trip in the woods. And that part is real. So, you know, the storyteller in me is thinking, what if something happened there and none of the parents are there nor can see it? So that in terms of influence was absolutely part of it. But I think as a parent too, you often wonder how much to share with your own child about your past or your issues. You know, what do you tell them?
Oh, that's interesting. And that seems like maybe that thought informed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And also, you know, honestly, female friendships are so core to my life. Like they're just the most important thing to me. And so I really wanted that as the backbone of the book, because at the end of the day, these 3 mothers are the core relationships, how they come together, how they fray, whether they betray each other or not. But, you know, my female friends are everything to me. And I think those are very intense, important relationships that I wanted to show.
Yeah, I totally agree. Female friends are the best.
Yeah.
Emily, I had a question. So with having spent your career in magazines, which is just so much less words, did that help you to be a very tight writer, or did that not help you at all, or did it help you in some other unexpected way?
Well, it's actually reversed because I started out writing books first.
Then went to
I was just like weirdly lucky that I could publish novels in my early 20s. And then I hadn't really had a job or much life. So I ran out of things to write about. And I took a job in magazines. And then I needed income and the health insurance. And I did set one of my novels in the magazine world because it was a lot of fun. I think that it's very different. Short form is very different, but you do learn kind of architecture. Like a story has to have a beginning, middle, end. So there's that. You know, I have a piece coming out tomorrow on Oprah Daily, and it was so much fun. It was a little bit about the writing of this book, but some life experiences. And when you can go back to short form, it's just so much fun. I'm like, oh, I can press send in a week, you know?
But did you have trouble constraining yourself to only, 600 words or 1,000 words or whatever the assignment was?
No, I loved it.
Oh, interesting. So you weren't like, I have so many thoughts.
No, I think because I was an editor of magazines for so long that I kind of know the format. But I still show things to friends and they show things to me, because no matter how experienced you are, you still, need an outside opinion.
Right. Fresh eyes.
100%.
Yeah. Cause it's hard to, it's hard to, get so deep into the story that you can tell it with nuance and texture and then also still be clear in terms of like, have I revealed this? Is this clear? Do you understand who this person is?
Right.
Robin is saying, my hubby was the one who showed restraint in sharing high school shenanigans. He had a full beard at 16 and never got carded. Need I say more? Oh my gosh. Okay. So he was the shenanigans maker in your high school histories, Robin. I see what's happening here. I'm married to goody two shoes. I like it.
I will say something. My daughter's a goody two shoes. Like, she's an overachiever. And I think her form of rebellion was like, I don't want to be the kind of teenager she was.
Oh my God. That's so funny. Wait, so Emily, you said your daughter has not read your book. Has she just not had time, or are you hiding it from her?
2 reasons. She is a First Amendment rights lawyer right now, working on freedom of the press issues. So she's quite busy on some very big cases.
Yes, indeed.
But I also think that she has had this with my writing before. I think she has to be ready for it. She knows the story. She knows the school setting. She's very proud of me, but I think it's intense for her to read things. But she'll stick to her First Amendment rights defense right now.
Yeah, she's going to be busy probably for the next 3 years.
Well, exactly. She's working on some of the cases in the news. So I like hearing about that.
Yeah.
And it's, speaking of secrets, every now and then she'll say, Mom, I'm not allowed to tell you this. I'm like, oh, come on, I'm your mother.
Listen, she's a lawyer. She took that oath seriously.
She did.
I wanted to get some of the praise for the book. Lovely. Robin saying, congratulations on raising a strong woman, Emily. Yes, exactly. A strong woman who's out there fighting for the freedom of the press. That's so important. Important to all of us. So thank you for that.
It is. It's very important to all of us.
Yeah, pivotal, in fact, to our democracy.
Yeah.
This is one of Oprah's 31 most anticipated books. Congratulations on that. And we now know you have an article coming out tomorrow in Oprah Daily. And Oprah Daily also had this to say about your book. They said Listfield knows exactly how to skewer the perfect Manhattan parent set. Brace yourselves for her sharpest turn yet. I loved that review. Also, they weren't the only ones raving. Kate White, who is your fellow magazine turned thriller author. She was the editor-in-chief of Cosmo, and she's been on for her last 4 books. I love Kate. Said, this is taut, riveting, and laced with stunning, unsettling revelations. Reasons to Lie explores the complicated, often painful truths about motherhood, privilege, and the fragile bond behind parents and their teens, while asking how well do we really know the people we love and how much would we risk to protect them. And we also have Greer Hendricks, who is on for her last book, weighing in with this praise. I'm going to pop it up so we can all read it. Yeah, a tragic death on a junior class overnight trip is the catalyst for Emily Listfield's latest propulsive thriller. Was it an accident, a suicide, or murder? It seems impossible to untangle the truth when the administration, students, and parents all seem to be hiding something. Told from the perspective of 3 disparate moms, Reasons to Lie pulls you in on the first page and doesn't let you go. Amazing praise there from a book editor turned New York Times bestselling author, Greer Hendricks, and also Eleanor Lippman weighed in with this praise. I'm going to pop that up as well. She had this to say, a tragic, oops, that's Greer's. You have too much praise, Emily. I can't get
I mean, really.
Eleanor said, I loved the smart, intriguing, captivated mystery. How did Emily Listfield make every character, the good, the imperfect, the suspicious, so true to life and so relatable? Who died by whose hand is an absorbing enough question, but for the added and delicious tension, Reasons to Lie is set at the kind of snobby Manhattan school I love to hate. Yeah. Highly enjoyable, flawlessly written, and highly recommended. So I wanted to end with Eleanor's because I wanted to ask you, I think that it's so the crafting of characters that people relate to in terms of what Eleanor said, the good, the imperfect, and the suspicious is so pivotal to how readers really connect with the book. So what do you think is the key to creating characters that are so deeply relatable?
That's a really good question. I think there are some writers who start plot first and then find their characters. I'm the opposite. I kind of figure out know my characters first and then see what happens with the plot. For my characters, I actually make whole folder biographies of them. Like the way if you are a method actor, with their secrets and their fears and their personal tics and what kind of clothes they like and the personal preferences. And that definitely helps at the beginning because you have something you can refer to and say like, especially with 3 points of view, they have to be distinct. And then once they get going and you're halfway through, they become very known to you like friends do. But I do think I spend time creating the characters first.
Oh my gosh. How big are the biographies?
Not that big, a couple of pages long. And again, I make little charts, but I do fill out the same thing. Like what are their little personal habits? What are their little pet peeves? What are their little tics, because first of all, flawed characters are more relatable. We're all flawed. But you also want them to be human, not paper cutouts of people.
Right. Wow. Oh my God. I love that. A biography folder is such a good idea.
Yeah.
You guys, the book is out tomorrow, and you can pre-order now from our favorite woman-owned independent store. That is, of course, Murder by the Book. And here again is that link to pre-order Reasons to Lie, so you can immerse yourself in the world of Dearborn Academy, the Eleanor Littman said snobby Manhattan school that she loves to hate. Emily Listfield, thank you so much for coming on to give us the inside scoop on Reasons to Lie. And it has been such a cool opportunity to get the behind the scenes sneak peek. Renee, thank you for joining us. She's saying thank you, Sara and Emily. Best wishes on your book, Emily. Robin says happy pub day. Renee says congratulations. It has been so great chatting with you, and I look forward to your next.
Thank you. This is my new group of women friends now.
Yay!
Thank you all. And thank you for having me, Sara. It's been wonderful.
So thrilled to chat with you. All right, Mavens, I hope your week is off to a killer start. May the days and the pages fly by, and I will see you next Monday. Stay well and stay warm until then.
Thank you.